Laken Riley, beautiful nursing student attending the University of Georgia, a campus with 40,000 students, goes for a run in broad daylight, in gorgeous weather, on a well-traveled path with plenty of other joggers and walkers around, and she does everything right, and yet she encounters an animal, a predator, hungry for blood. Enter Jose Ibarra, a member of a notorious Venezuelan gang from Tren de Aragua with roots in the prison system, known for drug trafficking, human smuggling, murder, extortion. He and his brother commandeered an apartment just 500 yards from where he brutally beat Laken to death, bashing in her skull so that she was barely identifiable. This is Crime Bites. I'm your host, Carrie Drobin, award-winning multi-published true crime author and criminal defense attorney. Welcome. So what led police to Laken's killer? Well, miraculously, they found a blood-stained jacket with her hair on it tossed inside a nearby dumpster. And thankfully, due to witness description, they spotted Ibarra wearing the same clothing and cap that he was wearing earlier when he committed the murder. When officers confronted him and asked him for ID, he produces a green card with his name on it, which of course they later discover is fake. And this leads police to obtain search warrants for Ibarra's apartment, the one he shares with his brother. And they seize evidence, namely cell phones, including Laken Riley's. I mean, don't you just love cell phones? I mean, they are literally a treasure trove of information. I mean, not only do they preserve all of the communications and text messages, but they're also like a GPS, pinging on exact locations of last use. And in this case, police lift a fingerprint, Ibarra's, on Laken's cell phone. The only way that happens is if Ibarra was with Laken. I mean, it is damning evidence. It is literally the proverbial smoking gun. And it's exactly what Ibarra's defense team moved to suppress. That and the DNA found on Laken's jacket and the search warrant, which they argued was vague and overbroad. Why? Because that's their only play, right? I mean, when you've got bad facts, you go attack it from a legal angle. Ibarra is charged with 9 crimes: murder, felony murder, kidnapping, peeping Tom, aggravated assault, aggravated battery, tampering with evidence. I mean, the list reads like a rap sheet. But apart from the prosecution's slam dunk case against Ibarra, who, by the way, is just now going to trial, more chilling than the murder itself, if that's possible, is who Ibarra is, and more importantly, how he came into contact with Laken that fateful afternoon. Are you ready for this? It turns out Ibarra and his brother were employed by the University of Georgia to work in, wait for it, the cafeteria, serving mashed potatoes to co-eds. So at first blush, Laken's tragedy joins the long list of tragedies involving women joggers who never return, who are abducted, accosted, raped, disappeared because some animal decided he was hungry. Remember Molly Tibbetts, the University of Iowa student who went for a jog and was murdered by a farm worker? Her death became a flashpoint in national conversations about immigration because her killer was undocumented. And then you have Eliza Fletcher, the teacher and mother of 2 who was abducted and killed while jogging in Memphis, Tennessee. Or Sydney Sutherland, who went missing during a jog. There's Vanessa Marcotte, attacked while jogging, led to increased awareness and advocacy for runner safety. And then there's Karina Vetrano, attacked and killed while jogging in Howard Beach, New York. Wendy Martinez, fatally stabbed while out on an evening run. I mean, why can't women run in the outdoors, on trails, before work, after work, on a beautiful fall day? Why must they be relegated to treadmills in a sweaty gym to be safe? I mean, that's the question we should be asking ourselves. When senseless crimes like Laken's happen, we want to blame someone or something, but let's not point the finger at Laken or any of the other women joggers who just go out for an evening and lose their lives. Let's look at the first harmful event in Laken's case, the University of Georgia, who never bothered to vet Ibarra or his brother. They just put him to work in the lunchroom. I mean, think about that. Think about how reckless that is, how much it takes for you or I to change an address on a Verizon bill, right? The lengths to which we have to go through just to prove the account is ours, to prove our identity, the passwords and security, the hints so that we can access our own account and update it. I mean, there have been SNL skits on this, right? The red tape involved. And here we have two individuals, the Ibarra brothers, gangsters, known terrorists, part of a transnational criminal organization here illegally, who are given a pass to work on a university campus in plain view of young, beautiful co-eds. I mean, it's like parading fresh bait in front of salivating lions in the zoo. Now, most of us think of college campuses as safe, idyllic communities full of people eager to learn. I mean, we don't think about them as dangerous. My guess is that's the prosecution's opening statement to the jury, along with photos of Laken's crushed skull, right? Pretty shocking, but that's the idea. Shock people out of complacency. Everything the state is going to present points to a guilty verdict. So what is the defense's play? What does the defense do when they have bad facts? And I don't mean just bad facts. They have damning facts, like Ibarra's fingerprint on Laken's cell phone. I mean, the one he stopped her from using to call 911, the one that literally places him at the scene of the crime, and then at the dumpster where he tosses Laken's bloodstained jacket. I mean, when a case is ironclad against the client, what is the defense's play? Suppression. Right? Suppress those cell phones, suppress the social media accounts, argue that the search warrants were overbroad, right? These are the legal maneuvers that have added complexity to the prosecution's case. They also challenge the reliability of the DNA evidence presented, right? And this is their tactic, delay, 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 which is why Ibarra is only just now going to trial. Because it's the defense's only play, but it's larger than that. Right? It's more than just accusing the police of failing to follow protocol or challenging chain of custody or, not letting the prosecution load another bullet in the chamber. I mean, there are times when I was a defense attorney, where my client would voluntarily absent himself from the courtroom and I'd want to raise my hand and say, hey, can I go too? Right? I mean, at some point it becomes an exercise in futility, going through the motions, while the prosecution proves its case, meets its burden, ensures the defendant gets a fair trial. And there's the rub. So why should we care if a defendant gets a fair trial? Because they aren't just one defendant. They represent the integrity of the whole justice system, protecting everyone's rights, keeping society stable. And morally, it just feels like the right thing to do, right? Treating people fairly, ensuring everyone has a fair shot in court is one of the most basic human standards that we have. So, can Ibarra get a fair trial? Maybe, right? I mean, he's charged with peeping Tom on the same day as Riley's death. He's allegedly involved in staring through a window at a staff member's house at the University of Georgia. And that's tacked on to his other charges just hours before he murders Laken. Right? So, I mean, he's got a stacked indictment. He's got the whole immigration status and all the political implications of that, of, having a Venezuelan national enter the United States unlawfully and having that called into question. It brings in its whole spectrum of national debates on immigration. Can you imagine polling the jury and asking them what their feelings are about this, right? Or what about the venue itself, right? The defense team requested a change of venue, arguing that Ibarra cannot get a fair trial in the current location, right, where the crime happened. But the judge denied that motion, so he is being tried in Athens, Clark County. Then you have the public and the media attention, the scrutiny on this case. It has garnered significant national attention, not only because of the crime, but also because, again, of all of the immigration issues, all of the political discourse around this case. So, can he get a fair trial? I mean, we'll soon find out, right? But until then, thanks for listening. If you liked what you heard, please share and subscribe to my channel and check out my website, carriedrobin.com. Meanwhile, stay vigilant, stay informed, and above all, stay safe.